Very good.
You're good to go.
Yep. Thank you so much for joining us. We are pretty excited to be having this virtual phone call / podcast with Hal Linden. Hal, thanks so much for joining us also. I know everyone's been sort of cooped up in the house, so we thought we'd have a little bit of fun today, but a little bit of information also with Emmy Award winning actor Hal Linden, as well as Chief Plan Giving Officer Matt Bernstein. We truly appreciate you being part of our JNF family, and we'd like to take this opportunity, especially during this unprecedented, difficult time, to thank you for your continued generosity and support. We do not take that lightly, so thank you so much for being a part of JNF. At this time, I would like to introduce Hal Linden. So I think everyone knows who he is. He's an American actor, singer, and musician whose career spanned more than 65 years and is still ongoing. Memorable roles in television, movies, in film, and the stage, of course. He's best known for his award-winning role as Barney Miller that aired on ABC from 1975 to 1982. He earned multiple Golden Globe and Emmy nominations for that work, and he became our spokesman for Jewish National Fund in 1997, which we are most appreciative. And I'd like to take this opportunity to introduce Hal Linden.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Hello there. There he is.
Hey, how are you?
Excuse me, I don't hear the applause.
I'm Tiffany, let me just say, it is so interesting that Hal is involved with us, because I saw Hal do the Rothschilds in New York City while I was in high school. And for those of us from the Sunshine Trips, Hal traveled with us many times to Israel, and I've seen him in the Rothschilds. I saw him do the Scottsboro Boys in Los Angeles, and we are Hal Linden fans. He's a terrific guy, and he's been terrific for Jewish National Fund. Go on, yeah.
So Hal, I know that you are a true Zionist. We all appreciate all that you do. Why don't you just start us off telling us a little bit about your background and what influences you?
True. First of all, let me introduce myself. My name is Harold Lipschitz from the Bronx, New York. My son of Charlie and Francis Lipschitz of blessed memory. I grew up in the Bronx, New York as a 8-year-old assimilationist, and my father was a ardent Zionist from the day he got to America in something like 1906 or something. And we had lovely discussions as I was a young lad. As I said, I had no problem with this country. I was playing in the street with my Italian and my Irish second generation friends. I saw no need for a new country. And it really wasn't until World War II when everything that came to light that was happening in Europe, and really the turning point for me was when the DPs after the war tried to get to Israel and was stopped by the British government. It was at that point that I realized my father had a point, that there had to be a place, there had to be a home. So when they told you go back where you came from, you'd have some place to go. And from that point on, I was again an ardent Zionist. So when I was asked to join JNF, we took a trip to Israel to see what JNF was doing, and I was just so amazed by the everywhere, all over the country were signs of JNF projects. So
when was that first trip?
just before I joined up, so it would have been 97, I guess.
Wow.
Yes, I went with my late wife, who incidentally was not Jewish, and she was so impressed by what she saw that she became a founding member of the Sapphire Society. And we've been involved ever since. As I said, my wife unfortunately passed about 10 years ago. But the proudest moment of her life was when that picture came of the first, I believe it was the first project of the Sapphire Society, was the town in the Negev. Shukim.
Yep.
It was a plaque or a stone outside this new city that was being created. And her name was on it as one of the founding. I can't tell you what that meant to her.
Amazing. So tell us a little bit about, I know that you grew up in a Jewish household, but then tell us about your family and how did the Zionism carry over into your own family?
Well, as I said, my father was a Zionist from, I think, the minute he got to America. He was the founding member, one of the founders of a Zionist support organization, which still exists today. It was in those days. It was, I believe, when it was established, it was called Order Sons of Zion, and today it's B'nai Zion. And my father was one of the founding. As I said, he had to convince me that there was a need for such a thing as Israel. But the world quickly showed me that he was right. I'll tell you that one of the most memorable days of my life was coming home from school. Yes, I must have been right. Must have been a day I came across. I don't remember. It may have been a Sunday. And my father was sitting in the living room. The lights were not on, weeping copious tears, because that was the day that Ben-Gurion declared the state of Israel to exist.
Wow.
And here was a man who had
Wow.
worked all of his adult life toward this goal, and here it was happening. So when I was asked to join JNF and become a participant in its activities, it was a kind of a natural continuation, at least I felt so, to carry on the work of my dad.
Did you instill the same inspiration and love of Israel in your own children and grandchildren?
I've tried. For my 50th anniversary, I asked my wife what she wanted to do. We're going to have a big party. We're going to take a cruise. What are we doing? Anything you want. Go ahead. And she said, I'll let you know. And she cogitated. And she came back and she said, I'll tell you what we're going to do. We're going to Israel. And we're going to take all the kids and all the grandchildren. I want them to see what your passion is, why you've been spending all this time. So we went to Israel with all the kids and all the grandkids. JNF set up a terrific tour. And it probably was the most memorable family activity that we've ever done. To this day, the kids remember almost everything we did there. The result of which, by the way, let me just preface this by saying that mine was a relatively secular Jewish family. We never, it was never religiously based. So when we went to Israel, well, when we got back, I got a call from my son that his son, who was about 10 years old at the time, had decided that he wanted to be bar mitzvah.
Wow.
Purely out of the experience that he got in the state of Israel. I've always, well, it's always been a signal moment for me that he had chosen to be bar mitzvah. It was very late. He was 10 years old, and he did a lot of cramming, I'll tell you that. But since
Where
then,
was the bar mitzvah? Where did you do it?
Outside of Boston, suburb of Boston.
Very nice.
Since then, his sister has been bat mitzvahed, and his younger brother was bar mitzvahed. I didn't convince him. It wasn't my influence. It was the influence of his trip to Israel. And
wow.
that quite memorable.
So tell us a little bit about your trips with Jewish National Fund to Israel. I know you've been several times with us. We'd love to hear about it.
Well, we've been on the Sunshine Tour for quite a few years. Hopefully we'll get back to it. Hopefully we'll get back to life. What can I tell you?
Yep.
And just a terrific experience. Of course, I've been there many times, so I've seen the same places many times. But it's always been a joyful tour. Sunshine Tour for older citizens. So we get up, 50 minutes later, and we park a little closer. So there's not too many steps. So it's designed for seniors so they can enjoy Israel easily. It's been a pleasure doing it, and I hope to do it again.
Does any site stick out? Maybe the Elon Institute or the Athlete Detention Center? Did you visit any of the heritage sites?
Yes. Let me see now. The Bullet Factory, loved that Bullet Factory. That was a great experience. And I remember we took the kids there too, and they were saying, "What are we? Bullet Factory? What is this?" We were amazed at that story, and that's a classical story of the Israeli character that they could accomplish that. The whole thing was
you went to the Athlete Detention Center?
Yes. After, again, my own history of remembering the whole DP situation after World War II, we went to the detention center where they actually kept the DPs, and some of them deported back to Cyprus, and a few let in. The history of the whole times is there for you. You can see it all with your own eyes. I saw it from across the sea, or heard of it from across the sea, but you can actually see it. Yeah. The kids remember also, we once went to
the playground.
The
playground?
Actually, what sticks in my mind was the kids riding donkeys at a kibbutz that had kind of a biblical background, and making cheese, if I recall. All ages. It was terrific.
Well, we know that you have played so many roles, so many famous roles over the years.
Excuse me, you know what the hardest thing is? Getting up every morning and to answer the phone. That's the toughest. Yes. No, go ahead. I'm sorry. I interrupted.
Well, I was going to ask you, I had heard a rumor that Barney Miller was Jewish, which I never knew as I watched it when I was growing up. And I wanted to see if you could tell us a little bit about that.
When I started, I didn't know it either. Miller is one of those, well, it's an Ellis Island name too, you know. Aside from being a traditional name, it's an Ellis Island name. It's a name they awarded to a lot of Jewish families. If you said you were in the milling business, they made you Miller, because they couldn't pronounce your Russian or Polish name. I got Barney Miller directly from the producer. I never auditioned for it. I was never presented for it by an agent. What happened was the eventual creator of Barney Miller, a man named Danny Arnold, came to see the Rothschilds. He must have been there, Matt, when you were there.
We sat next to each other.
And, he never came backstage. He never sent me a note. I never knew he existed until a couple of years later when he was developing Barney Miller. And in those days, that's a long time ago, TV has changed. It's quite corporate now, when this couldn't happen today. Since he was the creator, he was the caster. And the network, of course, when they're about to produce something, they'll send a list of actors that they think would fit the major roles. Actors who had enough public awareness that they thought they could help the show in a certain amount of fame or name or recognition, certainly. And when they sent the list for the character of Barney, Danny said, no, I saw this actor on Broadway, I'm going to use him. And that was it. I never auditioned. He took me out to lunch to convince me to do it. Again, something that would never happen today. The point is, not a year, but after we were in production, I asked him over lunch once, what was it about that, why me? What was it that you saw there that made you think I would be a good Barney Miller? And he said, and this is where I got the information. I guess we were just starting in production. He said, I wanted Barney to have a sense of Talmudic justice, the feeling, the knowledge that there, but for the grace of whatever, go all of us. And so that you could sit across the table from either a perp or a victim and have the same connection, the same ability to understand where they come from. As Danny called it, Talmudic justice. And that's when I discovered that Barney was Jewish. I had, one of the things an actor does when you walk on the set, you look at the set decorations, and there were all these pictures of police officers all over the wall in my office. And I stood there creating memories out of these pictures. That was my Uncle Paul. He was a police officer, and that's what got me to want to be in the police department. And then when Danny mentioned that to me, he became my Uncle Nathan. That was the big thing. But that always stuck with me. Talmudic justice, something we could use a lot more of today.
And I know Barney Miller definitely had that. He definitely had a sense of justice. How about your more recent works? I think I saw you recently in a movie, and it was very uplifting. So if people haven't seen it, we'd love to hear a little bit about that, the Samuel Project.
Oh, the Samuel Project, yes, which I believe is on Amazon. now, I think. Check it out.
I'm gonna check that.
The Samuel Project. I was in San Diego doing a play at the Old Globe when, or I was about to go there, when they came to me with a project to be shot in San Diego at the same time. That may have been why they chose me, because I already had a room. But it was about a boy who had a project from school to tell a story. He was an aspiring artist, and it was a media class, I guess, computer media, all kinds of media, hand drawings. And I played his grandfather. And the concept was he had to tell a true story, a 5-minute presentation using all the art forms that he had been working on, but it had to be a true story. And he divines that there's some interesting story that his grandfather has through the circumstances in the picture. And he tries to get the story out of me. It was a Holocaust story, or a Holocaust time. And Holocaust survivors are reticent. Very few of them talk about this story, or have in the past. And he finally gets the story out of me and then does the project. My name was Samuel, hence the Samuel Project. Actually, the picture's about the boy and his drive to tell this story, and that through art, we become a lot closer than we were at the beginning of the picture.
Yep. It was a great movie. And if anybody hasn't seen it, it was really uplifting and very enjoyable. Does anybody have any questions for Hal before we move on?
And Monica Edelman has been nice enough to post the link on Amazon in the chat. So look in the chat,
okay,
and you'll be able to see that. If anybody does have any questions, you can unmute yourself temporarily, as we announced before, by holding your space bar, pressing and holding your space bar, or if you're on the phone, you can do *6, and let's try to take them one at a time.
What are you hiding for? I have a question. Can you all hear me?
Go ahead, Toby. Yes, Toby.
Hal, you may not remember me and my husband, but you went with us and the board of JNF from Baltimore on a boat trip.
On a
boat trip.
On a boat trip.
We all were on the boat, a small boat. We went down the Chesapeake Bay. I was a redhead at the time.
That was last year, wasn't it? Yes.
I was also a founder, along with your wife, of Zucchini. In fact, we were all founders of the women's department. Prior to that, only men were on the board, but we quickly changed that.
Oh, yes. Well, the world has changed, my dear.
Right, right.
A firm recognition of who's in charge. Yes, yes. I'll go for that.
That was even way back, I think in 2007. 2007. No, not 20. I don't even remember the year anymore. But it was Diane Scar, your wife, me,
yes, I do
Mary
remember.
Katz.
I do remember. Out of Baltimore, wasn't it?
Right.
Right.
Yep. Thanks, Toby. Does anybody have any other questions for Hal before we move on?
I have a question. I grew up in the 70s as a teenager watching Barney Miller, and I loved it. And nowadays, I don't really watch like cop shows or anything, except maybe Brooklyn Nine-Nine. And I was just wondering if Mr. Linden is a fan of other either comedies or cop shows like nowadays, or is he, I'm just wondering what he watches. And I'm also wondering where he lives now. What city does he live in now?
I'm in Marina del Rey.
Oh,
in,
okay.
Los Angeles. looking right out at the boats in the marina right now.
Okay, and also we missed you at the JNF Sunshine Tour because I was on the one in November, and we were looking forward to meeting you.
I was going to go on the next one. I don't know when that's going to be. Well, we hope there's going to be
April 2021.
Okay.
2021. You got it?
April.
It's a date.
Okay.
Yes.
You're on.
For it.
All right.
What's the
So I
story?
think we're going to move on to.
Wait, he was supposed to say, I asked him what shows that he likes to watch, any cop shows.
Ah.
Well, I'm not one of those. You don't make them like they usually are.
Just go on.
I think they make them better if you really want to know. It's very difficult to do a comedy.
Too late for us.
Very difficult. But there has been some great ones.
I muted you. It's too late for us. We paid our money to them.
I'm not a prolific TV watcher, except for it used to be the news. Now I can't.
I know.
stand
No.
watch. But there have been great TV shows, Friends, Seinfeld over the years. Currently, I'm not into watching sitcoms. No.
They don't make them like they used to.
No, don't say that.
No, they make some good stuff, though.
They make them better now.
Yeah.
TV drama used to be the stepchild of movies. Now it's the other way around. The best stuff is done on TV today. No,
True.
I'm not a good old days guy at all. These are the good old days.
Yes.
No question about it.
Nice.
And you look great, by the way.
Well, you don't look so bad yourself, sweetheart.
Thank you.
Nice to see you.
Thank you.
Yep. Well, thank
too.
you for your questions. And Hal, thank you so much. I think we're going to turn the programming over to Matt now. We really appreciate you sharing your life story with us. It's been very exciting.
Thank you.
Matt?
Great. Gary, we have a video we wanted to show of Hal on our gift annuity program.
Okay, coming right up.
Thank you.
TV. I'll hang it down till
That sound built the country of Israel. We're responsible for it. The infrastructure, the history, water, recreation areas. JNF turned a brown country green. I participate in the JNF Charitable Gift Annuity Program. It's an annuity that you get through JNF that delivers to you interest on your money. Those of us of age who could use the extra good interest that eventually goes to Israel. You're supporting the cause that you love. You're supporting the country that you want to exist. You're helping yourself financially because you have the income. Support JNF and help us make Israel the strongest, safest, and most prosperous nation it can be.
This was my
How would I do if I wanted to? We were talking about doing something online.
All right. So we are, where is it? Let me share. Do I have my share on, Gary?
Not yet. Click the share button at the bottom, the green share button.
Not only hard to do a sitcom, it's hard to do one of these things.
It is.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Now it's coming.
So the purpose of today was to meet Hal, and we're going to be doing more of these each week. We'll call it Hanging with Hal, and we'll ask him some questions. He'll tell us some more stories. He's had an extraordinary career. But then also to point out to our donors, our supporters out there, that we're not going to sugarcoat. Things have been a little rough, but it also shows an opportunity for you and for Jewish National Fund. So what the Plan Giving Department does, one of the things that we offer is we have a charitable gift annuity program, which is one of the largest programs in the country, either Jewish or not Jewish. And what it simply is we allow you to make a gift, a charitable gift to Jewish National Fund, and based upon your age, we'll pay you an income for as long as you live, just as Hal described in that video. So where this is particularly interesting now is simply that interest rates in the outside world are almost zero. I was checking CD rates last night, and on a year CD, you'll get between 1 and 1.5%. And we know that our donors, and that anyone actually, it's a fact of financial life, is that everyone needs some money somewhere earning some kind of income. And this is where we come in. So we have an opportunity to show our donors that we could help them out of a situation with what we think is a very good solution and a strategy. So where you can get 1.5% based upon your age, what I've shown in the screen are the rates that we're paying on a single life for each of those lives. So not only do you get the income, however, you'll get a tax deduction because you're making a charitable gift for a portion of the money that you put in. The income will be partially tax-free. It comes to you uninterrupted for as long as you live. And then whenever you pass on, whatever remains of the money stays with the Jewish National Fund for our work on behalf of the land and people of Israel. So what you're looking at on the screen are what we call our single life rates. We also have 2 life rates. Husband and wife pays until the last of them pass. The rates might be a little lower because it's based on actuarial assumptions. But the facts are is that these rates are competitive, especially these days, and the money stays constant, the income is constant. It's a great way to help yourself, get some tax benefits, and support the Jewish National Fund at what is a very difficult time. We're here, we're doing this. We've been offering these annuities since 1969, never missed a payment, never had a payment decreased for any reasons. And we've been there through the ups and the downs, and our guarantee to our donors is we'll continue to be there. The fund is in excellent financial condition, and this is something we would like you to consider. If you have some money that you'd like to earn some fixed income on, is a way to help yourself and help Israel at the same time. So if there are any questions, I'd be happy to answer them. Okay? Cynthia, it's all yours.
Well, thank you so much for joining us in our first plan giving and virtual call. We will be having more of these, and we'll be sending out the notices. We really appreciate your time and your dedication to the land and people of Israel and your partnership, and hope that everybody stays safe. I will say one other thing. We are still going forward at this point with our national conference in Israel, October 25th to the 29th of this year. If you're interested in signing up, you can go to jnf.org. Thanks.
Thank you.
Put a plug in. Also, I want to put a plug in for more of these video presentations. Tomorrow at noon Eastern, it's the start of our Water Wednesdays, featuring Seth Siegel, who will talk about the importance of water during the time of coronavirus. And Thursday at 4 Eastern, we have our challah bake with JNF First Lady Lauren Lizerbrand. Plus, we have 2 Kabbalat Shabbat programs, not 1 but 2, on Friday afternoon. If you want more details about that, tune in to jnf.org/on-demand. jnf.org/on-demand for updates on our upcoming video presentations. And one last thing, our brand new online mitzvah marketplace, Shop Israeli Goods. And you can watch the first episode on JNF's YouTube channel. and shop at jnf.org/shopping. jnf.org/shopping, or you can call us toll free at 800-542-8733. 800-542-8733.
Thank you, Gary. And if you have any questions about any of what we discussed, the gift annuities, et cetera, please give us a call at that number, or 800-562-7526, 800-562-7526. And it was really great seeing everybody online, and I hope you have a great day. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
all.
you.
Thank you,
Thanks,
everybody.
Hal. Really appreciate it.
Thank
Hey,
you.
Bill.
Bye, guys.